Well, this is lecture 36 of Basic Calculus 1. In the last lectures, we were discussing how to compute the volume of a solid of revolution. So, today we will be talking about the surface area of such a solid. So, here the assumption is our solid is generated by revolving some region in the plane around y or x axis. So, now you see, if you are interested only in the surface of revolution, we do not really need the whole solid, we need only its surface. So, you may think of like there is a curve given in the plane and that is being revolved around some axis, x axis or y axis, and we want to find the area of that surface. Okay. So, let us look at how it goes. So, suppose we have a smooth curve which is given by a function y equal to f x and f of x is greater than or equal to 0, that is it is lying on the say top half plane, and where x varies from a to b. So, that is how the curve is defined. So, now this curve is revolved about the x axis. Let us take x axis case first. It is revolved around the x axis. So, you get a solid, it is not really full solid, it is a hollow one. Anyway, even if you take this region and revolve around x axis, you would get the solid, but we are interested only in the surface. So, we just take that the curve is revolved around the x axis. So, this hollow solid, it has a surface, we want to compute the area of this surface. So, now as earlier, we will be dividing this interval a to b into smaller portions, and in each of the smaller portions, we will try to approximate the surface area, which is painted a light blue color here. We want to approximate that and then take the sum of all such small bands to get our surface area of the surface. Okay. So, that means we take a partition and this interval a to b is divided into say n sub intervals, may not be of uniform length, some sub intervals by choosing some points x 0, x 1 up to x n, where x 0 is a and x n equal to b, as usual for our partitions. Now, in each of the sub intervals a band is generated. So, you want to find that surface. So, let us write this length of the sub interval as delta x I, which is x I minus 1. Now, as earlier we will say the norm of the partition is maximum of this delta x I, and we want to take the sum and later take the limit when this maximum of delta x I goes to 0. That would give us the area of the surface. So, in between we have to see what exactly is the area of this band. Now, the band looks something like a frustum. In the second picture you see, it looks like a frustum, right. Frustum means a part of the cone with its base and top one is cut. So, how to get the area of this surface, which is the frustum here. So, you imagine it is extending it, you get a cone, so which is in the third picture, and this surface area which is painted blue, we want to approximate it. Okay. So, how do we approximate that one? It is the frustum of a right circular cone, that is what we think. So, as you know, the surface area of the cone will be pi r times L, where L is the slant height, this height will be L. So, if that is your L and r is the radius of the base, then it will be surface of the cone will be having the area as pi r L. So, using that we will compute this area of the frustum. So, for the frustum what we do? We take the full area of the cone and then subtract that one which is white here. So, subtract from this full area this portion of the white portion of the cone. So, if that is small l, this is capital L minus L, it will be pi r but this r also will change, r will be the top one now. Okay, let us find it out. So, area of the frustum will be pi r2 times. Let us look at the picture. Here we have the total thing say is L. So, we have L1 is the white one corresponding to that, and then this total will be pi r times L, or you may say if L is only this much, this is the length, then it will be L plus L1. Okay. We have one R2 here, one R1 there. So, then it will be pi R2 times L1 plus L, which is the bigger cone surface area, minus pi R1 times small L1, right, L1. That gives the top one. So, we subtract them, and that turns out to be pi times R1 minus R2 L1 plus R2L, right. So, it is R2, you take L1 common. So, it is R2 minus R1, right. It is R2 minus R1 times L1 plus R2 times L. That is how it looks. Okay. We'll have R1, we have R2, we have L1, we have L. So, we should be able to express in terms of R1, R2 and L. So, for that we go back to the picture and look at the two triangles there. So, one is the smaller one this, and the another is the bigger one, that triangle. So, they are similar triangles. Therefore, we can say R1 divided by R2 will be equal to L1 divided by L1 plus L, or we write in terms of the R1 L2 and L1 L2 this way, L1 divided by R1 will be L1 plus L divided by R2. Okay. So, with this R1 R2 relation, we find that R2 L1, if you multiply that, R2 L1 equal to R1 times L1 plus R1 times L, it is R1 times L. So, now from this you get R2 minus R1 times L1, taking this one to the left side, equal to R1 times L. So, this is the relation we get between L1, L and R1, R2. So, using that in our formula, that the area is frustum area is pi into R1 minus R2 minus R1 into L1 plus R2L, we would get pi times R1L, R2 minus R1, L1 is R1L. So, pi times R1L plus R2L, that gives so R1 plus R2 divided by 2, let us write it as R. It is the average of those two radii, and the top smaller one and the bigger one is R2. So, it is their average, and 2 pi that average times L. That is how the area of the frustum we obtain. So, now we have to sum all these areas, taking the sub intervals xi minus to xi, and take the sum over all these to have an approximation of the area of the frustum. So, now for the sub interval xi minus 1 to xi, the slant height, which is your L here. So, that is now approximated by square root of delta xi square plus delta yi square. Fine. If you look at the picture again, let us look at that, why it is coming that way. So, here we want to approximate this L and this L plus L1. So, that is coming from this square plus this square root. So, in our xi minus 1 to xi, this will give xi minus xi square, which is delta xi square plus delta yi square. So, that is how we obtain the formula here, which is the slant height is approximated by delta xi square plus delta yi square to square root. Okay. Then we plug that in our formula for A, which is 2 pi r L. So, r equal to R1 plus R2, which are the now the radii of the bigger one, the smaller one cones. So, it is f of xi plus f of xi minus 1 divided by 2, that is our r. Therefore, this ai, which is corresponding to the first term for the sub interval xi minus 1 to xi, is, let us call it ai, that is 2 pi into r, which is f of xi minus 1 plus f of xi by 2, and L, which is square root of delta xi square plus delta yi square. So, as we have set, our approximation to the whole area will be summation of these ai's. But before that, let us have some simplification of this. Anyway, there is an approximation. So, we use mean value theorem here, because we assume that f of x is smooth. So, that differentiable. Then we can use the mean value theorem to say that f of xi minus f of xi minus 1 equal to f prime at some point ci in between xi minus 1 to xi times xi minus 1, which is same thing as f prime ci times delta xi. So, with this one, delta yi equal to f prime ci times delta xi. So, this ci is in between xi minus 1 to xi. So, with this now, delta xi square plus delta yi square will be equal to delta xi is here, delta xi square into 1 plus f prime ci square, and we want its square root. So, it is 1 plus f prime ci square times delta xi. So, once this is obtained, our ai was 2 pi into r, which is f of xi minus 1 plus f xi by 2 times delta xi square plus delta yi square. We now replace it by square root of 1 plus f prime ci square. So, this is how the sum of all the approximated areas look like. Okay. So, now when the limit of the norm of the partition, which is maximum I delta xi approaches 0, we obtain the surface of revolution or area of the surface of revolution. Now, what will happen to when we take the limit? Your once maximum of xi delta xi goes to 0, you see that the ci also goes to either xi or xi plus 1, they are now same. So, what do we get in the limit? It will be 1 plus f prime, let us say x square, and then it will be integral for dx, and this one will become y, height y. So, we get 2 pi f of x square root of 1 plus f prime x square dx. That will be the definition of surface area of revolution for us. So, this also we can write 2 pi y square root of 1 plus y prime square dx, where x is varying from a to b. So, this is the limits for x, a and b are the limits for x. Now, all these things happen when you have the curve given as y equal to f of x, and it is assumed that f of x is greater than or equal to 0, and then of course, we assume that the curve does not intersect itself. So, that you will not get the surface area if it intersects. So, it is non-intersecting and it is traversed only once when you go from x varies from a to b. Then this curve is revolved about x axis, and in that case our area is a to b 2 pi y. So, when it is revolving around x axis, we have integration with respect to x, but this factor is y because that is your corresponding to r in the first term. So, 2 pi y square root of 1 plus y prime square dx. So, here there is a common mistake. Why do we think of square root of 1 plus y prime square? Instead, if you take 2 pi y and it is just x, but it is not so, because you are taking really the length over this curve. We are approximating that xi minus 1 to xi minus 1, the length of the curve is approximated by a straight line here. So, that is really ds, not dx, not dy, right. So, that is why this factor 1 plus y prime square is coming up. Okay. So, now if you write that as ds, as we know ds equal to square root of 1 plus f prime x square dx, the differential form, you can express the area as a to b 2 pi y ds. It is not dx, it is ds, where the limits for integration are for x, which is a to b, not for s. So, that means we have we think of ds as s is a function of x, and the limits are for x which varies from a to b. So, that will be our formula for computation of area of surface of revolution. Now, suppose instead of x axis, the same curve is revolved about y axis. So, in that case, we express the function as x as a function of y, and say y varies from c to d. So, that the same curve is expressed as x equal to g of y, where y varies from c to d. Again we assume that this g of y is greater than or equal to 0. So, that the whole curve is in first quadrant, right. If you look at it x direction, it is greater than or equal to 0, in y also it is greater than or equal to 0. Now, the surface area will be 2 pi times same g y, just like your y here, you will be taking x now, x equal to g of y, and ds which becomes now 1 plus g prime y square dy. So, that is the way we can think. Integral says c to d, not a to b, it is c to d 2 pi x square root of 1 plus x prime square dy, where y varies from c to d. Look at our assumptions. We say that y equal to f of x is revolved about x axis with f x greater than or equal to 0, okay, and x lies between a to b, so that you get the arc of the curve. Similarly, if you take f x less than or equal to 0, then to satisfy the assumption we will work with y, which is y equal to minus f of x, then that would give rise to area of the surface of revolution. If both the things happen, say in some sub interval a to c, it is less than or equal to 0, from c to b is greater than or equal to 0, then we may have to compute both of them separately and then add them off, fine, to get the total area of surface of revolution. Okay. So, now let us see an example. Say in this example, we have a curve which is y equal to 2 root x, and we are taking an arc of this curve which is defined by varying x between 1 and 2. So, it is x varies from 1 and 2, this portion, y equal to 2 root x is the whole blue one as you see in the picture, but we are interested only in this arc which is revolved around x axis to obtain this surface which is painted green here. So, now we want to find the surface area. So, here of course, we will be using the formula, but first let us see what is the function. It is y equal to 2 root x. So, we need the derivative. Derivative is 1 divided by root x, right. It is x to the power half. So, it is half x to the power minus half, and there is a 2. So, that cancels, you get 1 divided by square root of x. So, 1 plus y prime square is 1 plus 1 by x square root. Then the surface area will be 2 pi y square root of 1 plus y prime square dx, fine. So, once you take this y really is your r, that comes to here is the r, right, the radius of the frustum, 2 radii are there. So, we are taking the average one. So, that corresponds to this y here. So, it is integral 2 pi y square root of 1 plus y prime square dx, where x varies from 1 to 2, that is the curve is given as x varies from 1 to 2. So, now it is a matter of integrating it, and we know that 1 plus y prime square equal to 1 plus 1 by x, and we have a square root. So, it is 2 pi and y equal to 2 root x. So, 2 root x square root of 1 plus 1 by x dx, fine. So, you multiply that x taking it inside the square root, that give you x plus 1 square root, and this simplifies to 4 pi. So, it is integral 1 to 2 4 pi square root of x plus 1 dx. Now, you can integrate it thinking of x plus 1 as u, and then it is u to the power half, right. So, that gives to 2 by 3 x plus 1 to the power 3 by 2 integral of square root of x plus 1. We have a 4 pi factor, and it is to be evaluated at 1 and 2 and then subtracted out, and if you simplify, that gives you 8 pi by 3 times 3 root 3, minus 2 root 2. That is the surface area of revolution. So, this happens when we are revolving a curve about x axis. Now, suppose we revolve around y axis. So, let us take the second example. Here we want to find the area of the surface generated by revolving the arc of the curve y equal to 1 plus x square divided by 2. And what is that arc? The arc is described when you take x lying between half and 1. So, that corresponds to this blue one here, which is depicted in the picture. So, and that is revolve around y axis, right. So, about y axis we are now revolving. So, you get the picture this way, fine. So, then we need to express x in terms of y, and here of course, it is lying above the in the upper half of the plane. So, when you take x in terms of y, it will be y 2y minus 1 square root, right. So, you would say x equal to x of y, which is square root of 2y minus 1, x greater than 0, okay. It is half to 1. So, it is x greater than 0, therefore, we get x equal to square root of 2y minus 1 as the curve. And when x has the limit half to 1, our integral will involve limits in y. So, we have to find out limits for y, fine. So, from this, if you find x, substitute x equal to half, x equal to 1, you get the limits for y as 5 by 8 to 1. So, now y varies from 5 by 8 to 1, x is a function of y now, say g of y, and we want to find the surface of area of surface of revolution when the curve is revolved about y axis. So, it will be equal to integral 5 by 8 to 1 2 pi g of y, which is square root of 2y minus 1, and this expression we have to see, it is square root of 1 plus g prime y square, right. So, g prime means x prime with respect to y, it has to be differentiated. So, x is square root of 2y minus 1. So, x prime is dx by dy, which is 1 divided by square root of 2y minus 1. So, that half cancels with this 2 when you differentiate with respect to y, first with respect to 2y, next 2y with respect to y. So, 1 2 comes, that is cancelled. So, it is 1 divided by square root of 2y minus 1. Therefore, the surface area will be integral 5 by 8 to 1 2 pi g of y, which is square root of 2y minus 1 square root of 1 plus x prime square, which is 1 divided by 2y minus 1. So, now multiplying this 2y minus 1 inside this under root, we get 2 pi root 2 y to the power half dy, and if you integrate, it is 2 pi root 2, that is 2 root 2 pi times y to the power half gives 2 by 3 y to the power 3 by 2, evaluated at 5 by 8 and 1, and that simplifies to this number, which is pi divided by 12 into 16 root 2 minus 5 root 5. So, this comes when you have the it is a curve is revolving about the y axis, where x is a function of y.